Hitting go live. All right, this time it's actually liking the one that I set up.
Okay.
And let's see here.
It's telling me that it's live.
It's saying that it's live?
Yes. Well, it told me.
No, you're right.
It
did it again. It did it again. Before I would have to hit go live on go away. I would have to hit go live on something else. Like I would have to hit go live 2 times. So here we are, everyone.
Hi. 2 of the 4 of us.
How was your week, Rainey?
Oh my gosh.
It was a week.
I'm glad it's Friday. Yeah.
I
have one of those jobs that, like, if I mess something up, I don't often know about it until like a week or so later, when somebody's like, hey, did you do that last week? And I'm like, I thought I did.
Oh, that's so frustrating.
And that happened like 2 or 3 times. And a couple of weeks ago, I hurt my back. And I think that's what it happened, because I was like, it was during my work time. And so I had to sign off and like go on sick time to go to the chiropractor. And I think I just like couldn't concentrate and forgot a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's so frustrating. Yeah, when you're like juggling a lot of things, juggling a lot of balls in the air, and then everything just comes crashing down.
Yep.
Chelsea, we're live right now. YouTube used to have me do like a second step before, and so hi Elizabeth is here, and it's not having me do that second step anymore. So next time I'll just wait to enter all the information until 7:30.
Okay. Well, hi.
Yes.
Well,
hi. We're already live, just so you know.
Yes. Oh, Elizabeth is eating Pirate's Booty. Such an addictive snack. Although, okay, real talk. I prefer Smart Food cheesy popcorn over Pirate Booty.
What's Pirate Booty? I feel like this is like an American snack that I don't know about.
It is. It's really good. I mean, it's like a crunchy, fluffy, cheesy snack. So what's not to like? I do like it, but I just really like Smart Food popcorn. And now I really wish I had some.
Popcorn's really good.
I've tried to make
I actually don't know that I know what Pirate's Booty is.
Oh, yeah. It's really
I mean, I've
good.
heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it has a different texture. It's more like a cheese puff than like cheese covered popcorn. Yeah.
Oh, well, then I would love it, because I love cheese puffs. That is my snack of choice.
Yes. Oh, Elizabeth, have you not had Smart Food popcorn? I'm sure you've seen it. It's in like a black bag with like yellow writing.
It's a really large bag, even in a normal grocery store. It's like a half torso sized bag.
Oh, Lisa says, I hope there's going to be some fun that is funny.
Yes, I hope so too. You know what? I might actually have a bag of Smart Pop downstairs. Let me go check. I'll be right back.
Okay, Chelsea, I have to tell you. So you know how you jogged my memory about Amish romances?
Yeah.
So Elizabeth's going to put a picture of the Pirate Booty bag in the Voxer group later. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, I picked up like that other series by Beverly Lewis that I hadn't read that started with The Preacher's Daughter. But I saw on Hoopla, they had the first of the Abrams daughters. And I was like, oh, what the heck, on Monday, like, I'll just start it. I started the series on Monday and I finished all 5 books this morning at like 7:20 a.m.
Oh my goodness. Like a book a day.
Yes, which is absurd. I don't know how I did that. Rainey, one of the cozy things that Chelsea named in her cozy things chat were Amish romances. And I had forgotten all about them. And there was this one series I read in high school. It's very dramatic. Lisa says no to Amish romances. Yes, Lisa, yes. Yes to all.
They're so good.
They're wonderful goot, okay?
Wonderful goot. I lied.
So
I don't
funny
have
is it really is like my high school stomping grounds. Like they talk about Honeybrook. Like I pass through Honeybrook every day to get
Oh.
to my school.
Hmm.
Oh, it was such a roller coaster ride. And some of the details I didn't even remember. And I just had to know whether Jonas and Leah were going to end up together.
They're
And you
just, yeah,
What?
I find the series, especially like because it's a series, so many of them are in a series, and you can just like keep going. Like,
right?
I mean, I'm reading 5 in 4.5 days.
Yeah.
Oh my
They
goodness.
are extremely mindless reading. Like, I do not argue that they are highbrow. Like, but
Oh no,
I,
they're 100% like
They're not
cozy,
supposed to be though.
guilty.
Yeah.
read.
I
Like-
had an absolute blast though.
No.
Oh, it was fun. Now, I have to say though, the last book, the first 4 books, I gave 4 stars to each of them. And then the last book, I unfortunately gave 3 stars because they're already so cheesy, right? But then when she's giving this happy ending, it's like, oh, if they said one more time, like, God's been so wonderful good to us, yeah? It's like, I get it.
Yes, you're so
Do
blessed.
not-
Get over it.
Lisa, they're like Victorian novels, but they're not as well written. Like, I feel like you have other guilty pleasure reading that you would want to do. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
but
probably.
here's the thing that
I
I don't
could-
like is that then sometimes people target Christian romances specifically, acting like they're like so much like lesser quality. But I feel like it's the same like standard of writing, and people don't need to specifically like go for Christian romance.
Oh yeah, it's no better.
Yeah.
Well, it's no
Yeah.
different than normal romance.
Yes, exactly.
Romance is not
Yeah.
literature. It's not.
Yeah.
It's meant to be
Yeah.
like junk.
It's got a formula to it. And,
Yes.
you know, kind of like cozy mysteries. I love my cozy mysteries,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they all pretty much follow the same thing.
Exactly. Oh. All right. Sorry for that rabbit trail, everyone. Let me just check real quick if we have like a message on Instagram from Angie. I know it was a tight squeeze when she was getting back from work. Oh, I'm still not home from work, hoping to make it home by 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Poor Angie.
When she said
so-
6:30, I was like, it's past 6:30. And then I'm like, no.
I know time is hard.
I can't do time differences.
So I do think I'll take like a month off, but I'm gonna read some more. You know, I'm going to. And Amish in April is coming up. So
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I love it.
and like you said, Chelsea, it's like all the domestic details and also the like social restraints that are there because of their rules. It feels similar to Regency romance.
Mhm.
Yeah. It always makes me want to like go bake something, like make some cookies or
That's like, I'm like, next time I'm in Amish country, like I want to stop at a bakery and get like freshly made donuts.
Ugh.
We have right down the street from me, we have a farmer's market and they have Amish donuts on Saturday.
Oh.
I have
And-
restrained myself so far.
Lisa, the series is Abram's Daughters by Beverly Lewis. And again, I will say, I do not say that you would love the series, but you can investigate for yourself at your peril. And
They are just, it's cozy.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
That's,
kind of scandalous in parts. Like they're spoilers.
oh,
so
really?
I won't get into
Oh.
it. Yes.
I don't know if I've ever read Abram's Daughters then.
Not all
I
the,
know I read-
not all the women are virtuous in Abram's Daughters. That's all I will say.
Oh,
You know,
my.
it starts with parting your hair down the middle and wearing fancy clothing. That's just the
Oh,
first
boy.
step.
Slippery
but-
slope.
Tuesday is Fat Tuesday, and apparently they make a donut called Fashnuts, which is the most fun word ever. That's like it's traditional to eat those on Fat Tuesday.
Oh, I
So-
did not know that.
Go out with go big right before Lent starts.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'll have to go to the farmer's market and see if they're
Yes,
there.
if they have Fashnuts this Saturday. Yeah, you should check. I bet you like 100% they will.
Yeah. Oh,
All right.
geez.
Now, the book that we are all here for, now that I've been yammering on for how long? No, I can't quite tell. Probably about 10 minutes. Sorry, everyone. Somewhere Safe with Somebody Good. And this one, I hugged it like once I was done. This one was
Me too.
so good. And my favorite in the series thus far, which is so fun to say now that, because do you realize like we've been doing this project a long time.
Heck yeah.
And this was just kind of all the things that I love about Mitford were in this. And it's very rewarding when you've spent time seeing the slow progression of certain characters, except for Emma.
Emma will never progress.
Elizabeth said it was 8 minutes. 8 minutes about Amish romance. I had to get it out of my system. Just to see all of the community come together, and it ended at Christmas time, and like the what else? Oh, and the bookstore, there was so much like bookish goodness in this one. Everything with Dooley was so rewarding. And Sammy, I mean, I wanted to give him a good kick in the pants, but like I so admired how Father Tim would not give up on him. I don't know if I would have the endurance to do that. Like, it made me really examine myself. Like, if I had this kid who just had come into my life, like I hadn't even really adopted him. He was just kind of there. Not your biological kid either. Like, I would have a really hard time not giving up on him. So I feel like this series really is a lot about self-sacrifice. Yeah, so I really, really enjoyed this one. And Chelsea, what did you think?
Pretty much everything you just said. I also loved this book so much. Like, I feel like after the last two books, which were it was just so nice to be back in Mitford, like with everyone, and having, like you said, like all the threads from past books starting to come together, and like getting to see some of the characters that we've missed for the last two books, and like getting on their life. I loved that. It finally felt like, I know I've complained in some of the past books that it felt like her writing of Dooley didn't grow up with him, and I felt like the book Dooley was finally like coming into his own and actually felt like a young adult character, and seeing like him and Lace and really working on their relationship was so sweet. Like,
yes,
I felt like they were finally felt like kids in their 20s, like so I loved that part. Loved the bookshop angle. I thought that was hilarious. Father Tim like taking on a job in his retirement. I loved that they started abbreviating orange marmalade cake to OMC.
It becomes so iconic.
Yeah, it's like the OMC. And the first time they did it, I was like, the OMC. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's the orange marmalade cake. Like, I'm gonna need to try making an orange marmalade cake at this rate.
I think for the last book, I'll make an orange marmalade cake, because I want to know too much. Like, I think Angie made it before.
I think she made it for like the first book or second book.
I think she did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's just,
I still need to get myself an actual copy of that cookbook. I want it.
and
I was actually going to message you guys because I couldn't remember what OMC meant. And I kept meaning to message you and be like, what did I miss? What does that mean?
I don't think they produced it. They just started using this, like, it's just the OMC now.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, I feel like this book, like, there's a lot of OMCs in this book. Like, there's like multiple cake occasions.
I feel like there's around 50. Is that an exaggeration?
Yeah, probably not. No.
And it is, I mean, a very rich cake. So talking about like how much they were charging for the cake, it seems like just so many ingredients. Oh, Elizabeth says she made an OMC in college, but she can't remember if it was good or not. See, that to me means it was probably just unremarkable. That's like, that's the thing. If we make it and then we actually taste it, you know, right now it's the most ideal cake ever before we've actually ever had it.
Well, when Angie gets here, we'll try to remember to ask her if she made it, because I don't remember.
Well, I
But-
feel like Angie was like, it's good.
Yeah.
And she wasn't like, it was amazing.
I feel like I won't think any cake is amazing unless it's chocolate. So, oh no.
I mean, I made a chocolate and coffee cake last week, and it was, I mean, that was
sounds
amazing.
My
That's
two
so
favorite things.
In my mind, I've been thinking of this as a chocolate cake with orange marmalade. And now I'm like, is it not chocolate?
I think it's vanilla.
Oh, I don't know.
It's our
Oh. Well, you know what? Actually, I don't like fruit and chocolate personally.
oh.
So it
Those
appeals more to me if it, yeah.
Do you guys get Terry's chocolate oranges in the States? Like at Christmas
We do,
time?
but I don't eat.
Okay, that's like,
Yeah.
I love
I
like a
don't
dark.
think it's like super popular here. Like
Yeah.
they've tried, but I don't know that it's like everybody gets a chocolate orange for Christmas. I don't know that it's really like that popular.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just in my family, but we're pretty into them. And I feel like, yeah, if you don't like the dark chocolate ones disappear fast in the grocery store. If you don't buy them in like November, by Christmas they're gone. Which I guess either means it's super popular or it means it's so unpopular they only order a few and I buy them all. I don't know.
I think I would like a dark chocolate one. That sounds good.
Yeah, they're really good.
I like dark chocolate.
Okay. I'm looking at a recipe and it is like a vanilla filling, but what sounds really, really yummy is that, after you bake it, it's like a poke cake. Do you guys know that term?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you poke all these toothpicks in it and you put the orange syrup, like you pour it. And so those fall into it. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, I feel like Angie ran out of time and she wasn't able to do that step or something like that.
Oh, yes. I do kind of remember her saying that she
Yeah.
didn't have time to like heat up the marmalade or something. So
Yes.
it was more like on top.
Yeah.
Than inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
Lisa says the OMC is not Southern. I don't know where she got that idea. I've never heard it except here. Yeah. I never had I feel like German chocolate cake definitely seems Southern, or hummingbird cake.
What's hummingbird cake?
Hummingbird cake has, it's like a sort of like a spice cake, but it has also like pineapple chunks and pecans or walnuts. I can't remember which one. It's yummy.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So
I'm a Yankee. I don't know that. I don't know things.
Any other thoughts, Chelsea?
I loved, I can't remember their names now. Omer and what's her name? Shailene? Something.
What was? I don't remember what they did say her name was.
I know.
It was something like that. One of the ships. Anyway, I thought that was absolutely hilarious and very like You've Got Mail kind of, where they found out they were each other's Scrabble partner.
It was super cute.
But all I could think about when they kept describing everyone in the town walking around with spray tans was like that scene with Ross from Friends. I'm like imagining everyone in town walking around.
Oh.
Oh,
Angie just sent us a text that said she just made it home. So she probably will be here. Then we can ask her about OMC.
Yeah, I was not anticipating that happening with the Scrabble. It's like I didn't put 2 and 2 together yet. I'm like, they both like to play Scrabble. Like, that means they like play Scrabble online. Yeah, that was really fun. This set it had really a lot of festive like tie-ins at the end that were fun.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Lisa said that it's pecans that are in hummingbird cake. And Lisa, this is interesting. You say it's pecans, but in Mississippi we say pecans. So I think it depends on the region of the South that you're in.
Yeah. I think I say, what do I say?
Is that funny once you like think about it a lot?
Yeah. I know, because I'm sorry, I've said it, but pecans, I think I say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I say them both ways, but I
You
also
probably-
say y'all, and I've never lived in the South. I don't say yins, which is the thing that we're supposed to say here. And I
You're like, never.
never.
Oh, yes. Book Zealot says that early, like into spray tan, they would have been orange. Like it does not,
Oh,
the
yeah.
spray tan look never did that appeal to me. And also, it's just like, it's never going to look
Like
like it's actually been in the outdoors. Yeah, it's just not going to
Nope.
look the same. And it's like, I knew in the little Mississippi town I was in, like tanning bed culture, it was huge. And everyone, even spray tan was more orange, but even just people that went to the tanning bed, like it does not look the same.
No. Mm-mm. And I don't understand. I don't know. I don't really understand it. Because I'm like, I would rather you just be the shade that you're supposed to be.
Yes.
Because that looks natural. Like,
Yes.
I mean, if you tan in the sun, great. And
Yes.
you know, yay
That's your
for
summer
you.
look.
But,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes.
But if you're like 10 shades darker than you're supposed to be in the wintertime and you live in the north, we all know where you got that.
Yes. So Rainey, what did you think of this one overall?
Okay, so basically the same thing you all said. I I think it was after the last two books of just kind of being out of Mitford and not really. I mean, I enjoyed parts of the last two books, but not overall. And just like from the very beginning when we got to this one, and it just felt like Mitford, and it felt like one of the earlier books. I was just like, oh, this is so nice. And then I listened to the audiobook, and it was the original narrator that I love. And so I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because the one that we just read, I read it physically for most of it, and then I ended up buying it on Kindle at the end because I was like so far away from being done that I was just like, which probably was a mistake because I didn't enjoy it that much. So now I have like a $12 Kindle book that I probably will never read again. I know. But maybe I kind of thought about it later. I was like, well, I might, because I haven't bought any of them except for that one on Kindle. So I was like, you know, I love this series overall. So maybe I will just like accumulate them on Kindle over, you know, the next few years, and so that I'll have them when I want them. Right. But so I didn't feel too bad about it. But then I got Kindle talk to text to read it to me. Yeah. So that's unsatisfying. I mean, it does what you need it to do, but it wasn't the narrator that I love.
Don Mazzano, that's his name.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I need to write that down because I mean I know he recently passed away, but yeah, you know, but I like him so much. Like anytime I hear his voice, I'm like, I love him.
Just so soothed. And yeah, Peter and I started listening to today. There's a series of children's detective stories where there's a pig named Freddie the Pig who's the sleuth. And I didn't realize because I had never listened to one on audiobook. They're from like the 1950s, but he narrates the whole series. And I was
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to go back and find like all the things. He's narrated.
He also does Ragweed, which is a series about mice by Avi, I think is how you say their name.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'll have to look that one up too.
I love those when I was little. Those are such sweet. The Ragweed.
I wish I had read them when I was little because I listened and I got why they were charming, but I didn't feel motivated to read like a whole book. But Peter really, really liked them. So I think this is one I just missed out on.
Yeah.
Lisa asked, what do we think about all the letters between Tim and Cynthia? I was very stressed out on Tim's behalf because he couldn't get the one letter, and trust Puny to find it. I really love how, even though she's this busy mother to two sets of twins, how she has continued to still be a big presence in their life. Angie here.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, and I was gonna say I just really enjoyed the whole Dooley plot line this time, and how they just like and Lace, and how they were having this like long distance romance thing, but he still wasn't really being very straightforward with Father Tim about what was going on, and the friendship ring thing. I was like, it is not a friendship ring. Come on. Hello.
Hey, sorry, ladies.
It's nice to have you here.
It's nice to finally be here.
Has it been a week?
Oh yeah, it was a day. It was a day.
No, geez.
I'm sure we'll talk about it later on.
in our post game.
Our debrief. And I unintentionally made us go live early again, so that was cool.
Okay.
That's fine. We didn't say anything too awkward.
So any other thoughts, Rainy?
No, not that anybody else hasn't already said. I basically just, the one thing I did wonder, I don't remember, and I read this a little bit ago, so maybe I'm just forgetting. Did Holly, is that her name? The bookstore owner?
Hope.
Hope. I don't know why I thought Holly. Did she have the baby at the end? Or is she still pregnant?
I think she's still pregnant. They just announced her, they were going to call her Grace.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
That's what made it confusing, because they announced the name like right at the end of the book. So that,
Okay. I thought maybe I'd missed something, and I was like, did she have it? Is it okay? Are they coming back? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. But so apparently we'll probably get the end of that saga in our next book, maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
So Angie, twofold question. One, what did you think overall of the book? And then earlier we were talking about OMC. And I thought I remember, did you make it that?
Yeah. Okay. So the book was a lot of fun. I'm not finished. I was hoping to get it done today, but because of circumstances and getting home really late, I didn't get a chance to finish. I have 2 chapters left, but it was a lot of fun. It was just really enjoyable being in Mitford and hearing all these stories. I loved the bookstore storyline.
Yes.
It just was a perfect fit for Father Tim. Yeah, I really enjoyed that part. And yeah, it's not my favorite of the series. I know there were a couple of people, I think Lisa might have mentioned, Lisa Bales mentioned that it was her favorite, I think, of the series. She mentioned that on Instagram. Kate, you too. So it's not my favorite, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I'll be back in a moment. You can keep talking.
Okay.
And as for the OMC, yes, I did make I made the orange marmalade cake the first time we met. Our first meeting, because that was on a Saturday. And so I had the time to actually make something. So I made it. It was very good.
Was it? Okay. But that's what we were trying to remember. If you really liked it, or if you were just like,
No, it was really good. And I think I liked it a lot more because it was something that like I was actually successful at making it. And so that made it like doubly enjoyable. Had I had it at a restaurant, maybe I would have been like, oh yeah, this is nice. But because I made it, it felt extra special. So I really liked it. I don't remember if there was a frosting recipe, but the frosting did not come out. It was still not bad. It wasn't bad.
Okay.
Now I think what's that?
Remember, because I timed out. I don't know if I did or not. We were saying that it was like hope cake or something, and that maybe that part didn't work out or something, that you didn't get the syrup melted into it or something.
Yeah, I think I was supposed to poke it I think it was one of
Yeah.
those poke cakes, and there was supposed to be it was a mixture, an orange juice. I think it might have had like fresh squeezed orange juice. Yeah, it didn't quite make it into all the crevices, which is normal, I guess, for poke cakes. Whenever I've tried to make a poke cake, it doesn't quite make its way all the way into the crevices.
Okay.
Now, one thing she did mention was that it took a long time. Like, did she say it took a whole day?
I don't remember.
She said it took a long time.
I don't remember an hour figure, but it sounded like it was like a consuming task.
I mean, it was, but I don't remember it taking super long.
Okay.
Yeah. We're
well,
all
maybe when
to make them after this book.
We said maybe the last one we would all make the OMC again. So maybe we need to have our last meeting on a Saturday when we'll all have time.
Yeah. And see whose rise is the best.
Oh.
Who has the most lift, since it's a 3-layer cake.
Oh.
All right, Angie. She's been watching lots of Bake Off, I can tell. It's so funny now that like my boys have watched that. I'll like feed Peter something. He's like, I think you could stay in the tent for another week if you fed somebody this, Mama. Yeah, so I will, to anybody who hadn't, I said it like in a patron video, but we thought for the last meeting it would be fun to have it, open it up as a Zoom meeting, and either record it and put it up later if everyone's comfortable with that, or we could just have it as a meeting and not bother with recording it. But we thought that would be fun for people that have attended in the chat. Yeah, a fun way to do the last one, which will be in April.
Oh, is it already gonna be April?
No,
what are we gonna do with our lives?
Well, that's a good segue.
segue.
Yeah, that's a good segue, except I realized, I don't know the author's name. Let me look it up real quick. The fun is not ending here, folks. So basically, we would just have a big void in our life if we weren't doing this once a month still. So we are going to start meeting. We're still going to be meeting once a month. And we're going to read through the Miss Julia series by Anne B. Ross. Have any of you read any of these books?
Nope.
So we're all going in blind. I assume we're going to like these. Miss Julia is an elderly widow in Abbotsville, North Carolina. And the first synopsis talks about, let's see, she is slightly bemused when Hazel Marie Puckett appears at her door with a youngster in tow and unceremoniously announces that the child is the fatherless, I'll use that word, son of Miss Julia's late husband. Suddenly, the longtime church member and pillar of her small southern community finds herself in the center of an unseemly scandal. And apparently it has razor sharp wit and perfect steel magnolia poise. So,
well, I do declare.
How many books are in the series?
23.
How many?
23.
23. Maybe we should read 2 a month.
Yeah.
Well, let's see
this
how
for a long time, folks.
Well, I mean, are we doing anything else?
Yep, why not?
I mean, they are short. Whoa, okay. Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Reads Books, or Lizzie Faye, what is it?
Lizzie Faye Loves Books.
Thank you. She gave the first one 5 stars.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's exciting to know.
Nice. It sounds good.
I'm excited.
I wonder if I have to check to see if my library has those. I mean, I'm not opposed to buying them. I'm just wondering. That just seems like the type of thing that my library would have.
Oh, well, since there are 23 of them, I don't really want to buy them.
Well, this is true.
No, I'm joking.
Unless I can get them on thrift books or something.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I just mean space. Like we keep putting off buying more shelves. So
Yeah. I keep saying I'm going to buy more shelves because I move this chair over to this every time I want to film, but it like is in the corner usually, but it's just a blank wall. So I'm like, I need shelves back there just so I have something nice that I don't have to move my chair every time. But that seems like a waste of money for.
Well, if you have favorite books you genuinely want to buy. Oh, I love Booksell. It says, I've never heard of the series or the author, but the first one sounds snappy. That is a great word.
Snappy.
That's what is that in Betsy Tacy in Some Circumstance, the snappy broilers. I think it's like an editing team.
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think so. I like that word. I'm going to use that more often. Snappy.
So I'm sorry, I got totally sidetracked from Somewhere Safe with Somebody Good. So I am kind of surprised, Angie, if you could put your finger on what made it not your favorite. What do you think, maybe?
Well, I think part of it is I was comparing it to my favorite books in the series. I was comparing it to the wedding book, and then I think the third book in the series was also one that I rated 5. And so I was trying to think, I was trying to give it a fair rating. Well, as I was thinking about what I was going to rate it, I was, like I said, I was comparing it to the 2 5-star reads. And I was just thinking to myself, did I enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the other 2? And while I enjoyed this one, it didn't come close to my feelings for The Wedding Story and book 3, I think it was.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so nothing in particular that annoyed me or that bothered me. It was just how when I compared it to the other 2 books, it didn't quite make the mark.
Yes. Okay.
I think maybe for some of us, it did get a little bit inflated just because of the past 2 books. Like it was
probably a valid point.
To be back in like kind of a normal Mitford book after the last 2, that it was like maybe I felt like I loved it more just because of not really enjoying the last 2 as much. That it's like harder to think back like 10 books in the series now, but I'm like immediately comparing it to the last 2 and I'm like, this was amazing.
Now, Chelsea, you liked the wedding book as much as I did. I think we both rated it, gave it like a higher rating than Kate and Rainey. How would you compare it to The Wedding Story? I mean, as far as your enjoyment of it.
I gave both 5. I really liked both of them. Yeah. I think The Wedding Story was very short, and I still think The Wedding Story might be the one that I would reread the most, just because this one's really long. It's like a 17-hour
long
compared to like a 5-hour audiobook. So if I wanted like a Mitford hit in the future, I feel like I'd still go for The Wedding Story because it's like a shorter, I don't know. I don't reread, like to commit to rereading a 17-hour book would be like almost never going to happen realistically. But I
might just because I like that narrator so much, but
yeah.
I think it had a lot with the letter writing between Father Tim and Cynthia. It had a lot of the same like kind of romantic. I felt like there was more romance in this book than in some of the last 2, which I'm quite excited. You guys have looked at the synopsis for our next book, but it's like The Wedding Story Part 2, basically.
And Lisa Bale says, spoiler alert, the next book is a wedding book. Now, I have to say, I am feeling optimistic about the next one because although it is a lot briefer than this one, and I've struggled with both A Common Life and Shepherd's Abiding because they were so brief, it's not as brief as those. It's more, is it close to like 200 pages, I think, maybe?
The audiobook 8.5 hours, so it's definitely longer. I'm pretty sure were like actual novella length, like 4 or 5 hour audiobooks. This is like normal book length, just not whatever this one was probably like what 600 or 700 pages in physical format.
I'm glad to hear that because I didn't factor this book into my March TBR. And my March TBR is already insane. And I'm like, oh no. I'm going to have like a 15-hour audiobook to read.
Yes.
I just thought of that today. I was like, oh no.
Okay. By a poll, who thinks that Julie and Lace are going to wait through 4 years of veterinary school to get married?
No.
No.
No way, no how.
No.
I remember being engaged and there was no way we're going to wait through 4 years of graduate school. I was in my junior year of college, and like the summer before my senior year, I got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and I
that's
remember
what
one of my friends was like, "You are going to get divorced. You're going to get divorced."
Oh my gosh.
But the thing is, it's like everyone, I don't know if they thought like I was going to be married to this totally militant guy who was like, when I come home, I expect a nice dinner on the table and like a really clean house. Like he knew he was marrying a college student. And I remember like finals week, I was like, I can't cook at all this week. And he was like, okay. And so he cooked. It was like a very fixable problem.
It's not like he was that much older than you that he didn't remember what it was like.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that I didn't think Jan Karen would set the next book 4 years in the future. I was thinking that was just too long a time span.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So many things could happen.
Is that wedding?
What's that?
I said, I'm very excited for this. If this is a wedding story, I'm very excited for this one.
I am, but I am worried. Like, this sounds so cynical, but I mean it with such love. I feel like weddings can bring out the worst in people because they get very wrapped up in the like little small details of this one day. And so I guess I'm worried people are going to be giving all of their say-so. Like there are some bossy pants characters in this series. And I'm worried they're going to be like, you have to do your wedding this way. You have to do your wedding this way. And then Julie and Lace are going to be like, we just want to get married. Why is everyone bossing us about these little details about the wedding?
One thing I think is going to be really interesting, and I'm assuming or hoping will be a plot point, is obviously Dooley's wedding. He's going to want all his siblings and his mother at, and we haven't really resolved that yet. It's basically Sammy and Kenny can't even really be in the same room as their mother. Like they're organizing separate Thanksgivings. So I'm thinking that that's probably going to be a conflict point that is going to have to resolve ahead at the wedding. Hopefully not at the wedding. Hopefully before.
Oh, I have to say too, that the part in the book that got me really choked up was when the guy who hadn't been to Mitford yet, and he said to Father Tim, like, oh, you told me your son was coming down. Is this your son? And he just like, he put his arm around Sammy and was like, yes, this is my son.
Yeah. No, yeah, I know. I love that.
Really,
I was like, take that, you little
turd. He had a lot to work through. He had such a what I loved too was that when Father Tim showed him, he took him. Now I'm getting mixed up about the order of events. What made Sammy so upset that he saw? Was it the car all banged up?
Well, he wasn't he was going to give Father Tim lessons on pool, but Father Tim actually knew a little bit, and so, or wasn't that,
or did he
what upset him? Yeah, Father Tim either won or he wasn't as novice as a novice as Sammy thought, and so it upset him, and that's when he broke the pool stick.
Yeah,
isn't that what
later on when he? If you only have 2 chapters on, yes, you've gotten this far. He takes Father Tim's car and and it said there's some line like, for the first time, like Sammy felt empathy for someone besides himself. And
is that when he goes to visit the hospital and there's that person who had an accident?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And so I think that's something, when someone's in such deep pain. Like he has these really deep wounds and he thinks he's the only person who's ever been hurt before. And it's not like Father Tim is trying to invalidate his feelings, but he wants him to show like there are other people who are hurting too. And just how he talks about like all these privileges that Dooley has had. And it's, you know, Dooley really like, yes, he did get, you know, money. Yeah, he got $1 million, but he's worked hard in school.
Yeah, because I mean, he didn't even know about that till what, like not even a year from when they met Sammy, right? Or they met Sammy before he got that $1 million. So it's not like he just flew through his life with Uncle Tim, Father Tim, thinking that he was like, I'm a rich guy, I can do what I want, you know.
Book Zealot also says, I felt badly for Polly when she talked to the son that lived in Oregon. Yeah, Kenny, he was, it's just gonna take, she just has to give them time. What's interesting to me is kind of to see the littlest kids, how they'll feel kind of when they're teenagers, because I think they didn't really, they haven't processed kind of everything that they've gone through.
Yeah.
And maybe even haven't realized how much it has affected them. Book Zealots also says, I liked Somewhere Safe with Somebody Good, which is such a great title also. I just like to point out. But I liked Come Rain or Come Shine for more for different reasons. So
is that the next one? I haven't looked ahead.
Yes. Yeah, the titles do start to blend together.
Okay.
That's, you know.
Yeah, I know. I haven't looked ahead, so I don't.
Speaking of the titles blending together, I feel like she did the thing again where she gave two characters the same name in the same book.
Yeah.
And they're like the two Henry Harrys, and I'm like confused on like they'll be like, Harry walked into the bookstore, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's his brother. And then it's like going on, and it's like everyone in the town was like spitting on me, and I'm like, is Mitford like a really racist town? Like, why are they so upset? Oh, like 4 more paragraphs in, I'm like, oh, it's the pastor Harry guy, not the brother Harry guy. Like, why are you give 2 characters the name Henry and Harry? Like,
yeah, that storyline, I forgot about that one. That storyline was intense.
So intense.
I was kind of surprised that she put that in there. I don't know why, but
it makes me,
especially the part in the woods with him like trying to kill himself, basically.
It makes me especially sad because I know of an incident where there was, you know, a scandal, and it was a smaller congregation, and there's still people that got really hurt in that situation that aren't attending church to this day. Like they just feel so burnt out. And that's why I say before, like, I don't like, I go to church because of Jesus, not because of other Christians.
I'm shocked though that I really thought Father Tim would take the interim position.
He's getting up there though.
Yeah,
he is,
which really makes me nervous.
I know.
I'm like
at the last book,
like have a meltdown.
At the last book, with him dying, that was just really sour the series. Yeah,
I'm nervous about Cynthia though. Like there was like 3 or 4 like, would you remarry if I died? I'm like, why are we discussing this? This is unnecessary.
I know.
Well, and then they kept talking
about that.
They kept mentioning her eyesight. I thought, oh, I hope she does not lose her eyesight.
Yeah,
that was scary.
Well, and
I know.
The thing is, how would he ever meet someone else? Like the only reason that he really like interacted with Cynthia was because of his crazy dog who kept going in her yard.
Yeah, it's hard enough to meet people, let me tell you, in a smallish town.
Yes, and you are very far from 70.
Like, yeah, so
I can only imagine at 70, like what it would be like.
And I try to be social, and yet still here I am.
Yeah.
So If Barnabas dies, because they keep calling him the old man, I'm gonna have, you guys are gonna have to check on me.
Oh, I feel like she hasn't quite mentioned Barnabas enough in recent books.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't, like he felt like such a huge presence in the first few books. And maybe it's, I mean, he's older and calmer now, but I don't know. I guess I feel like we're not quite aware of him enough.
Yeah. Maybe she's doing that on purpose.
Intervention bookseller, it says.
Wasn't
you guys reading with us are just gonna have to check on us and be like, you girls okay?
I see. I'm glad we haven't heard much about the dog Barnabas. Because I can separate myself from him. And so I was thinking he might pass this book, but since we hadn't heard so much, I kind of felt like I could just like detach from that. But if in the next book we hear a lot about Barnabas because it's his time is coming, then I would be kind of upset with Jan Karen if she made me like attach myself again to that storyline.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't the whole like trying to move him downstairs? That whole storyline was like he was getting too old to climb the stairs, right?
Yeah.
Like they had to move his bed downstairs.
Yeah.
Every time I was like, I feel for my cats. When she got super old, we I was still living with my parents at the time, and we kind of gated her into the living room. And so she like kind of lost the use of her back legs and stuff. So that was probably the time we should have put her down. We realized this, but we couldn't. So yeah, it was a very long process of like, she was always in the living room when we'd come home, and she would like drag herself over to us and stuff like. It was so sad. And so like with our second cat, we're like, let's not do that, okay? That's not good for any of us.
So a few years ago, my grandmother, she had a Jack Russell Terrier, and I can't remember I think Ruby was probably like 12 at this point. And my aunt, who lived like 10 minutes away, realized that Ruby's like healthcare had gotten more high maintenance. And she's like, she's not getting you up at night, Mom, is she? And my grandmother was like, no. And my grandmother was like 83 at this point. And so then there was a hurricane because my grandmother lives in the Myrtle Beach area. And there was a hurricane coming. So they evacuated, and she obviously took Ruby with her. And so then she knew, because she was going to be around like my aunt the whole time. She said, well, Ruby, our secret is out. Like we're going to see how she was getting up like at all hours with Ruby. And so actually it ended up being a blessing in disguise, because Ruby, she was really, really miserable and not eating that much. And so she got to take her to be put to sleep like away from home and with people. And so she did have to then come home to the empty house, but it was going to have to be done at some point, and it just ended up.
It was better that she did it while she was with people.
Yes. Oh, interesting. Lisa says she said she'd never do that about Barnabas.
What, put him downstairs, you mean?
I don't know.
Have him pass.
Oh, she would never let Father Tim die. Yay!
Oh, okay.
He's actually, listen, this might be controversial. He's part vampire, but he hasn't brought that secret out because this isn't that kind of series.
Right. We will learn that in the next book or in the last book. But see, I'm worried because I don't want Father Tim to die, but I also don't want Cynthia to die. And I know that's what I'm afraid of. Well, and then we know Barnabas is probably going to die at some point, but
no, the one I'm really concerned for is Luella.
Oh yeah.
I don't want her to pass. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, you know what? I'm surprised that Luella has stuck around the amount
Me
of
too.
time she has without Miss Sadie. Like they grew up together.
Mhm.
Yeah. I would have actually not liked.
No, I agree.
I would have liked her to have already gone. Like after Miss Sadie.
Well, and that's
I don't really know.
My Nana said about her dog, she said, I knew one of us had to go first. And I knew if I went first that Ruby would keep waiting for me by the door.
Oh.
And she would go on hunger strikes whenever my grandma would go on a trip. And she would not eat until she got back. Father Tim is Voldemort, Lisa says. I don't think he could in good conscience make Horcruxes.
No.
That's all.
No, I don't think so either. We can name him. He's
do
not
not
the person
comply with the Book of Common Prayer.
No.
So yeah, I think I'm curious then, because then we have one more book. So maybe it's just going to be, I think it'll be kind of seeing all of the hard work with Dooley's family.
Yeah.
And a quote from George Eliot that I think of about this series too is that it's from Middlemarch, something like, no, I don't want to get it wrong. Middlemarch.
I have to reread Middlemarch. I haven't reread that. Maybe that'll be my Victober plan.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's what it is. The quote is, what do we live for if not to make the world less difficult for each other? And I just think that, I know, I love that.
That's a good one.
Can you repeat the last part? Make it what?
What do we live for if not to make life less difficult for each other?
That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that quote.
I'm glad you like it. Yeah, it really is. That's I feel like how everyone should go into their day. Don't make someone's day more difficult, and you've succeeded.
Yeah, I liked
I'm gonna give that to my one coworker. It makes my life more difficult every day.
I did like Father Tim's prayer whenever he would, I guess he would say it every morning, but specifically when he was going into the bookstore, he would say, help me be a blessing to someone, which is a nice prayer, but it's also a big responsibility, which is why it's I wanted to start praying that, but I thought, but what is going to be asked of me?
Yeah.
I don't, make it easy. Make it something easy.
Pray for patience thing.
Yes. Yeah. That's why my husband says, pray, Lord, give me more patience, but please don't make it hurt too much. Bookseller says, I would cry regardless of who dies. I cried when Barnabas got hit way in the beginning of the series. That was out of the
me too.
Yeah, I think I've cried at every death. I mean, Miss Sadie.
Oh, Miss Sadie, that was the one I think that hit me definitely the hardest.
I felt I don't remember his name now. Rose's husband,
Uncle Billy.
That was really hard.
I felt really bad in this book for what was the old Coop? Yeah, for him when his mom died.
Ooh, yeah, that was sad.
I was said he's like she was so mean, but I miss her.
Yeah.
Aw.
I have to say that the scenes with him eating with the guys, I still even on audio, I don't love those scenes. It's just I feel it's just exhausting following all of the banter. It's less confusing on audio, but still, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really feel like it adds anything.
I think that's what
I mean.
It feels like a pit stop.
It feels like the comic relief in well, I don't want to say in Shakespeare because I like the comic relief parts in
Yeah.
Shakespeare, but
Well, 'cause they aren't as meandering.
yeah, there's like, there's not always purpose for those
Yes.
comic
I do
relief
always
sections.
enjoy hearing what they're ordering. I do enjoy their food.
There is drama always with their orders.
Yeah.
Oh, Adrian says Jan Karen will be 85 on March 14th. I don't think she will have Father Tim die. I don't think so. And you know what? She said in that, I think Lisa sent a couple of us Jan Karen's like opening speech to the Mitford Museum.
Yeah.
And she said that the museum is essentially like the rest of the story. So I don't think she's going to write anymore. I think the story is complete as is. And I think it's good to know like when to complete a story, to say that it's done. Toy Story 4. Oh yeah.
Well, I will say it.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, mine is off topic.
I was just going to say that the thing that I was going to comment on earlier, and I just forgot, is that I always kind of forget like how modern these are, because they feel like historical fiction, sort of like they're set maybe in like the 60s or something. Yes. And then they talk about like Facebook and cell phones and stuff. I'm like, wait, what?
Yes.
Like, how many years did we jump here? And then, like,
I kind of had the opposite reaction. For me, I kept thinking of you, Chelsea. Every time they would mention technology or something, I'd be like, oh, Chelsea doesn't remember a time before that. Oh, Chelsea does not remember when that was.
That's true.
So you kept popping into my head with this book because they mentioned several pieces of technology. And I just kept thinking, Chelsea was not alive prior to this. So she's probably going, that is so odd. What was life like back then?
Yeah, what was that? These people are so old.
It is interesting to think about. Like, there is only one generation that can remember a time like when they didn't have the internet, in their home, and then when they did have the internet.
Yeah.
Kind of that transition.
That's me.
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh, for sure. When we switched from like that, the AOL, like all the noises, and that mail does the noises. Like, DSL, that's what it was called. It was like, whoa, DSL.
Well, you couldn't use your phone if somebody was on the internet. You couldn't use your landline.
Yep. I'd be home trying to use the internet. My dad would try to call his brother, and I'd be like, Dad, I'm on the internet.
Okay, and it seems like Lisa and Booksellers agree too. They say, I can never keep those guys apart. They are annoying. It seems to be kind of negative having lunch with them. Yeah, it's like they all come and gripe. They come and gripe about their aches and pains. And it's not like I don't think they have aches and pains, but it just gets kind of boring. Like, something else to talk about.
I feel like it's
what's that?
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who can't keep them straight. Like, all their names, I'm always like, which one is that? Like,
who are you?
I listen to the audios fast, so it's like I have myself to blame a little bit because I don't know. This narrator, I find, like, I really love the narrator, but he's quite slow. Like, I listen to most of them on like 2.5.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
I listen to him pretty fast too. The only reason I slow down for him at all is because of when he sings. Because then I'm like, if I listen to him really fast when he's singing, I'm like, this is weird. All right, let's. This does not sound like a hymn.
Self-conscious of their singing voice, so then they just like rush through it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Lisa says, I'm older than all of you, and I remember how revolutionary a remote control was.
Oh my.
Yeah, the rate at which technology changes is just continually speeding up.
I have a coworker who he cannot. He's only 50, but he just cannot or won't figure out the technology that we have at work now. So there's like me and then like my one coworker bestie that are the same age. So we're like always trying to limp him along. So he won't retire, but that time has come. So
Yeah. Well, one of my students mentioned that for Christmas he'd gotten an Oculus. And I was like, that sounds like a Harry Potter thing, but I'm not really sure. So I didn't ask him further questions. I'm just like, oh, interesting. Didn't know what it was. And then the other day he said something about his Oculus and he goes, but you don't know what that is. I said, no, I don't know. I don't know what that is. It sounds like something from Harry Potter. And he just looked at me. The other day I was at Target. Apparently it's some like virtual reality thing. Like I saw it at Target. It's like this headpiece. Chelsea, I'm sure you know.
Yeah, it's on my like one day list of gift ideas for my husband because I think they look so cool.
They are really fun.
Okay.
I love.
I'm the only one who doesn't know what an Oculus
no,
is.
I don't know what it is, Angie. We're in the same boat. Don't worry.
I love the bit about Puny trying to teach Father Tim how to use the DVD remote. And how she's like the one that says play. And she's like on the button. He's like, I need my glasses.
I love them. They're so funny.
Yeah, Puny is like top 5 characters for me.
100%. At first I thought she was also old.
Yeah.
And then I realized no, she's like probably in her like early 30s or something like that.
Yeah.
When she started having kids, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. I think she's like 25 when he meets her.
Okay.
But what's funny is like when you're in like a small town and like you're not like a career woman. It's like, well,
Yep.
So
clock's ticking.
Yeah. And I think she wanted to get married, but also I think it was just really annoying to have everyone on her back about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any other thoughts before we?
I did have a question for everybody. Now, since at least the last half was set in a bookstore, were there any titles or any authors that were mentioned that you were curious about after hearing about them in the book? I was surprised because usually whenever they mention authors or titles, I immediately look them up or I'll buy something that a title that was mentioned, but I didn't feel really very like I don't know if maybe they didn't mention very many or they didn't mention any that sounded interesting to me. But were any titles or authors mentioned that you guys
I'm currently reading The Prelude by Wordsworth. It's gonna take me a while. It's like it's not nearly as narrative as I was hoping. It's very much like his meanderings on the meaning of life.
I kind of remember reading parts of that in college.
Yes.
It was a struggle bus.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. This is hilarious. So we're talking about Puny in the comments, and Lisa says, Puny is wonderful and sassy. She always wanted to snatch a knot in Dooley's butt. And YouTube made me like review the comment. It was like, this comment held for review because it had butt in it.
How dare you, right? But I think I said a word in somebody's comment one time, not meaning anything. Oh, was it? Because you were like, they deleted your comment. And I was like, why?
Yeah, I remember like I tried to find it and.
Did I say like sexual or something?
No, I think you said something with a pain in the butt or something.
Oh, okay.
The butt is censored.
It apparently. Also, Angie, before you came on, I was talking all about the Amish romances that I had been reading recently and how on Fat Tuesday in Amish tradition, they make fashnots, which is just such a great word for a donut. And I hope you find some. I hope you find those fashnots because you'll get to
feel like now that you keep saying it, I feel like I know how it's spelled. So I feel like I have had them before.
It's F-A-S-H. Oh, wait, sorry. F-A-S-C-H-N-A-U-T.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a type of donut?
Yes. It has potato in it, which is interesting, but it's kind of like, have you had beignets?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's like lots of different cultures have their version. Like Oli Bolin is like the Dutch version, and it has raisins in it. And then there are like the Chinese like yeast donuts, and I feel like these are just like that culture's version. Lisa says I'm so dangerous because of her comment. Yes, Lisa, that's what I think of when I think of you, dangerous.
Yep. so just what's the word? Oh, well, I guess
as
dangerous.
they say in the series of unfortunate events, an aura of menace. That's what Lisa.
Yes, that's Lisa. Aura of menace.
Sorry, I interrupted though before the other ladies were able to answer. Did you have any
titles?
Yeah, any titles?
I didn't really, other than Wordsworth, I just don't really recall, but I was listening to it, so I don't know, like probably if I had read it or read along with it, I could have paid a little bit more attention, but there wasn't really anything that I remember thinking was like different.
Yeah. The only one that stuck out to me was Father Tim was reading a book whenever he would go to the bookstore by Quovidus, a philosopher, an ancient philosopher, maybe. Quovidus.
I don't recognize that, so it must be. Oh no, but you're listening to the audiobook too, so it must be pronounced that way. Oh, that's gonna bug
I didn't pronounce it quite exactly right. I know it's something like Quovedus or Quovedus.
Interesting.
That's the only one that kind of interested me.
Yeah.
You mentioned Out of Africa for the O for October.
Yes,
you did.
Oh, yes.
That I have on my like classics TBR for the year, so I'm hoping to get to that one this year.
Okay.
I hope you like it.
Okay, yeah, I did think of that.
Yeah.
I tried it one time and it was, what do I want to say? Like, I get maybe just very literary. I don't know. I felt like I couldn't like wrap my brain around her writing style.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see because the movie soundtrack, like the movie came out right around the time I was born. And then my mom listened to that movie soundtrack like while she was pregnant with me, and then that movie soundtrack was my night music till I was 8. Like I could not fall asleep if I did not have that soundtrack playing, to the point where when we went on trips we had to take a portable cassette player with the soundtrack to put me to sleep. Like that is like in my memory, and then I've only actually seen the movie once because it's not like a kid's movie, obviously, so I didn't watch it until I was older.
It's also just exceedingly sad. It's really good, but my friend walked down to the Mozart clarinet concerto that is that's on that soundtrack, and it's really funny because they play it for the monkeys like in the movie. Yeah, so it's a funny scene. Well,
I love the that movie is kind of in a way like the inspiration for the Wildest Dreams Taylor Swift like music video.
I did not know that. Wow.
Like sometimes if the movie itself is too sad, I'll just watch the Taylor Swift music video. It's kind of the same.
It's kind of the same.
All righty. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back at the end of March for Come Rain or Come Shine. And then I'll make like a post and put my email address, and everyone can email me if you want to attend the Zoom party for the final book. So yeah, thanks, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Okay.